and you, and you, and you. We are live, baby, live and direct. Welcome in to the first ever, at this time, episode of the DC Live Chat. Are we live? Let's see. Are we live? Are we live? Oh, yes, we are live. I'm seeing some people in here. We got some comments. What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the first episode of the DC Live Chat presented by ppv.com. I am Dan Canobbio. I am excited to be here. I am excited to talk to you about Canelo's crazy demands, Tszyu versus Fundora, the upcoming boxing schedule, and so much more. Very excited to be doing these live chats every Wednesday around this time, around 11:30. I'm going to be doing live chats. It's part of my new deal with ppv.com. It was my idea. I'm very excited about it. Bob Canobbio says, I am live. That's good to know. What up, Demetrio? What's going on? What up, Hernan? How are you? Yeah, like I said, very excited to get the DC live chat going every single Wednesday at 11:30. There'll be some Wednesdays where I'll be traveling. There'll be some Wednesdays where I got something else going on. But for the most part, I'm going to stay consistent with this. Going to do it every single Wednesday at 11:30. Talk boxing, talk life, talk a little bit of everything, whatever everyone wants to talk about. Gail, you're the best. San Diego in the house. Your Padres just lost at 3 a.m. What is going on with the MLB? Major League Baseball putting opening day at 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific for Shohei Ohtani's first game as a Dodger is the most MLB thing I've ever heard, but I digress. This is about boxing. Been a crazy couple of months for me. As you know, if you've been following along, I left John Boy Media, where I was for 2 years doing the show with Chris Algieri, doing a lot of baseball stuff, playing in their warehouse. And now I'm with ppv.com. Just started the deal this week. Did our first episode as part of ppv.com this week with Chris Algieri. Go check it out on YouTube. I'll have another episode on Friday with a very special guest, Sebastian Fundora. And we'll also break down some of the Canelo stuff. And we'll definitely be talking about Bam versus Gallo, which is in the works for June 29th, according to Mike Coppinger. We will get to all that, but I wanted to talk about what I'll be doing for the next couple of years, part of the ppv.com family. ppv.com is the best way to order pay-per-view events. Tszyu versus Fundora, Canelo Munguia, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia can all be watched on ppv.com. You can stream it to your phone. You can stream it to your tablet. You can stream it to your big screen TV. It is the most interactive way to watch a pay-per-view because they have a live chat on fight night. You're going to be able to talk to me, Chris Algieri, Jim Lampley, Lance Pugmire, and so many more. So go ahead and order the fights with ppv.com. They're sending us out to Las Vegas next week for Fundora versus Tszyu, Rolly versus Pitbull. They're also sending us to Las Vegas for Canelo versus Munguia, Ryan versus Haney. So shout out to ppv.com for doing the right thing and giving you at home more coverage and allowing me and Chris Algieri to do what we love to do every single week, and that is talk baseball. Gail, baseball. I'm thinking of baseball, not boxing. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a crazy couple months. Finalizing this deal with PPV, leaving John Boy Media, setting up everything at home. This is just the preliminary setup. It's okay. I got some of these crazy lights behind me. I bought these floodlights that really give you that like YouTuber look. But I'm getting a new camera, getting all new stuff. Going to set up a stream. Going to be able to bring in video on the stream. Going to be able to bring in guests eventually on the stream. Yeah, I have big plans for this Wednesday stream, 11:30. I'd like to know what everyone thinks about 11:30 a.m. Would you rather it be afternoon, morning, evening? I kind of like 11:30. Now you're right. If on the East Coast, it's right before lunch. On the West Coast, you're at work. You're at your desk. So I kind of like 11:30. Bryce Palladino, will you be going to any events? Yes, I will be going to Tszyu versus Fundora next week. I will be going to Ryan versus Haney. I will be going to Canelo versus Munguia. I will be going to Tank versus Frank on June 15th, most likely. PPV, part of this deal, PPV is .com is sending me and Chris Algieri to all the big fights where we talk to the fighters. We give you that feel of being there, interviews, and we're also going to be giving away free pay-per-views. That's huge. Free pay-per-views, guys. Starting next Monday, I'm giving away a pay-per-view every single day, thanks to ppv.com, Monday through Friday. So you're going to have to keep it locked to our social media and ppv.com social media, Instagram and Twitter. One free pay-per-view a day, which is one of the coolest things they do. Your program has been getting bigger and bigger. Much respect to you. I wouldn't be able to do it without you, Demetrio. Without all the listeners that and viewers that we get every single week, week after week, we wouldn't be able to do these deals. We wouldn't be able to grow the show and grow the platform without the best community in boxing. Me and Chris Algieri say it all the time. We have the smartest fans. We have the best fans. A lot of times when we talk about, some fights that you guys don't like, we hear it. We hear it in the comment section. You guys want to hear about the biggest fights. You want to hear about the best analysis. You don't want to hear about any of the nonsense. That's why I love the Inside Boxing Live community. I love this. We got 200 in the chat. I love that. Rob, come on. This is my former coworker. This hurts me. I love you, Rob. I miss you, Rob. My former producer of the morning show, JM Live. This is a different version of JM Live. So that's that. Episodes every Monday, episodes every Friday. Week live chat every Wednesday. Random stuff during the week. I did a video on Thurman when he lost. So we want to keep it out. Check on Inside Boxing Live's YouTube page and Inside Boxing Live's social media. First topic of the afternoon, and whoa, this was a shocker. Canelo Alvarez wants $150 to $200 million to fight David Benavidez. He said this yesterday after his press conference, after he faced off with Jaime Munguia. Canelo was ornery yesterday. Canelo was testy. He went after Mike Tyson. He went after Andre Ward. And then he asked for $200 million to fight David Benavidez. Basically, what Canelo Alvarez did yesterday is he looked into those cameras. Shout out to Fight Hub, who got that answer out of Canelo. Canelo looked into the camera and said, His Excellency, Turki Al-Shalik, I want $200 million to fight in Saudi Arabia against David Benavidez. That's what that meant. Canelo asking for $150 million is I want to fight in Saudi Arabia against David Benavidez. That is the only way I see this fight happening. The only way I see Canelo versus Benavidez happening is if it happens in Saudi Arabia. If those are going to be Canelo's demands. And I understand what Canelo was saying. Benavidez brings nothing to the table. I never got an offer from Benavidez, which I kind of believe Canelo here, because Samson Lukowitz went on The Boxing Voice and was saying all sorts of stuff. But Canelo said, listen, I get paid the same to fight any of these guys. I get paid the same to fight Munguia that I would get paid to fight Berlanga, that I get paid to fight BJ Saunders. It's around 35 to 40 million. So he's thinking in his head, I could fight anybody. I can literally fight you or me in the chat right now. And that's it. So I kind of understand what Canelo was saying. I think it's him just flexing his muscle. I think he's at the point of his career where it's like, yeah, I fought everyone, and now you want me to fight another guy. And if you're gonna want me to do that, well, guess what? There's a guy out there. There's a country out there that's throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars. I want some of that. I'm a free agent after this fight with Munguia. You guys really watch me? You really want me to see? You really want to see Benavidez? You really want to watch me fight Benavidez? All right, 150 million, 200 million. That's the type of shot caller Canelo is. Is it right? No. Is he pricing himself out? Sure looks like it. When other fighters do this, we call it a duck, right? There's a lot of ways to duck fighters in today's game. You can duck fighters by outpricing yourself. You can duck fighters by simply not responding to an offer. When you ask for an astronomical price, because even 150 to 200 million, even for the Saudis, is way too high. If you ask for an astronomical price, it's a form of saying that you don't really want to fight. And there was some other things from Canelo that I didn't really understand him say is, you know what, you guys are always asking me to fight this guy, fight that guy. First it was Mayweather, and then you wanted me to fight this guy, you wanted me to fight that guy. But look, I eventually fought Golovkin, okay? Dude, no one was asking you to fight BJ Saunders. No one was asking you to fight Callum Smith. I understand it was for you to collect the titles, and at that time that meant something, and it was really cool, and I was championing that myself to become undisputed. But during the length of Canelo's career, there have been only 2 fighters that the public has really asked him to fight. It's Gennady Golovkin, and now it's David Benavidez. Yes, he has fought all the other guys. Look at his resume. He's fought everyone. Cotto, Mosley, Mayweather, Plant, Callum Smith, Danny Jacobs. Go up and down the list. Benavidez is the one that we're all salivating for. Golovkin was the guy that we're all salivating for at one point. He gave us the Golovkin fight. If you want to say it was a couple of years too late, maybe. But the fans simply want to see him fight David Benavidez. His attitude towards the fans, his attitude towards the reporters, not really understanding why are they asking me about Benavidez is crazy to me, because Benavidez has been the mandatory. He's clearly the best contender at 168. It's not Jaime Munguia. I think the Munguia fight is going to be awesome, but come on, Benavidez is the best fight for Canelo right now. So a lot of things happened yesterday at that face-off. The actual press conference was very respectful. The stare down was super respectful. Wasn't a lot there if you were looking for a shoving match, if you're looking for trash talk. The spiciness went down afterwards when the guys with the camera phones, the guys with the cameras, what I will be down in scrums. Down in the scrums is where it really goes down after these press conferences. So shout out to everyone out there, Fight Hub, all your favorite YouTube channels that really do the hard work at these press conferences, fighting for positioning during these scrums to get that stuff out of Canelo, because we never would have got that out of Canelo during the press conference. You get the best information and the best stuff from Canelo after the press conference. That's a rant over there. Show some more respect to the digital reporters of boxing. So it wasn't really spicy during the press conference. It got spicy afterwards. Canelo went after Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson says that you should fight Benavidez. Some reporter asked him about that. Canelo goes, well, I'd appreciate his opinion if he was sober. If Mike Tyson was sober. Okay. Andre Ward had some criticism. He went after Andre Ward. So Canelo was on one yesterday. He was spicy. But it's up to the fans. It's up to the reporters to keep pressing Canelo about Benavidez. This was a celebration of a fight that we're going to get on May 4th between Munguia and Canelo. But all everyone wanted to talk about was Benavidez, and that's the way it should be. Put the pressure on Canelo at all costs. Let's go to some comments here. Stella. Hello, Stella. How are you? I didn't even know you can go live on Twitter. Now you know. Jace says, just proves more and more how much ducking he's doing. Well, that's the thing. Like I just said, listen, Canelo has fought everyone. It's hard to call him a duck. I hate using that word. But if you go by the definition, the many definitions of what ducking is, outpricing yourself for a fight is a form of getting out of a fight. Let's just call it is what it is. Canelo wants that Saudi money. Yes, he does, bro. It's so obvious. He might as well have looked right into the camera and looked right at His Excellency Turki Al-Shalek and said, hey, how are you? Give me $200 million to fight Benavidez. All right? Thanks. That was pretty much what he said yesterday. It's a flirt with the Saudis, Larry Liston says. I mean, it's Canelo's doing what he should be doing. Canelo is in the driver's seat. He's the A side. He is the face of boxing still. This man freaking made an announcement about an announcement. Remember that? In February, and had the boxing world upside down. Had them all waiting. Had them all speculating, Canelo, which he did last month. The guy's the face of boxing still. When he says something, when he does something, everything he does is a headline. So it makes sense. I get business-wise why he's bringing up this crazy money and why he's going to the Saudis, because he's a free agent after this fight. It's not a one-fight deal right now. He's fight to fight, Canelo, for the rest of his career. which is good for fight fans because he can make the biggest fights possible. And how about good call, Larry? Listen, thank you. He could have just dropped the belts then. Well, if these sanctioning bodies are going to placate Canelo, he's never going to drop the belts, and they are never going to enforce anything. The IBF, maybe they're like the strictest. WBC is never going to, rule against Canelo. Come on, that's crazy talk, bro. Edgar Barajas. A lot of people were calling for the Billy Joe fight. Really? But it wasn't like a legacy-defining fight for Canelo. It wasn't like, oh my God, I gotta see him fight Billy Joe Saunders. Not like it is for Benavidez, and not like it was for Golovkin. Is there anyone else out there that people were like, I have to see Canelo fight this person? It was Golovkin, and it's now Benavidez. That's all fans are asking for. Canelo, his explanation was kind of crazy, where he was like, oh, first it was BJ Saunders, then it was this guy, then it was that guy. Fans are always asking me to fight somebody. Yeah, we're always asking to fight somebody because you're the best fighter in boxing, and we want to see you in the biggest events. But when it comes to like really asking, when it comes to really demanding a fight, Golovkin and Benavidez. Canelo hurting his legacy. This is like where I push back a little bit. 500 people in the chat. Wow, love that. I don't know. Is Canelo hurting his legacy? Like, his legacy's set. That's part of his attitude yesterday. That's part of what he said yesterday. He's going into the Hall of Fame. He is an undisputed champion at 168. He won a world title at 175, won a title at 5 different weight classes. Most highest paid boxer of this era. Legacy set. If he doesn't fight Benavidez, yes, there'll be a small blip at the bottom of the story of Canelo if he doesn't fight Benavidez. I don't think we'll be at the top. When they write Canelo's story, it's not going to say Canelo Alvarez, who ducked Benavidez in 2024, won 5 titles in 5 different weight classes. No, it will be towards the bottom. It's still in his story. It's still part of his legacy. I don't know if it's going to hurt his legacy. Does that make sense? I don't know what he said about Ward. I know Ward. Here's the thing about Andre Ward. I love these live chats because I can just kind of go off. Andre Ward does this thing where he'll do an interview and he'll throw out some crumbs like, hey, maybe I'll come back and fight Canelo. Maybe I'll come back and fight Usyk. And all the interviewers and all the media will be like, oh my God, Andre Ward is flirting with a comeback. And if you go ask him about it, he goes like, oh, wait, what are you talking about? I'm retired. I'm done. Like, it gets annoyed with you, Andre Ward. He does that all the time. Like, that's Andre Ward to a T. It's like he brings up something, media asks him about it, he acts like he's all bothered by it. Like, Andre Ward, love him. Great announcer, great personality, awesome fighter, great champion. But, he left a lot of money on the table. He left a lot of fights on the table. And there's a little bit of bitterness, I feel, from Andre, where he wishes that he could have got that really big fight. His biggest fight was the Kovalev fight. And, he left the sport right before he could have fought a Canelo or maybe went up to heavyweight, and ended his career going up to heavyweight fighting Usyk or some other names out there. There was like 2 or 3 fights that Ward should have had. Abraham says it's a duck. If Abraham says it's a duck, then it's a duck. It's a friggin' duck, Gail. It's a travesty to call those scripted presentations without live questions a real-time press conference. No one gets to ask questions of speakers on stage for all to see. Thank you for bringing this up, Gail. Boxing needs to radically change the press conferences. UFC, once again, gets it right. It's a live event. It's a live atmosphere when the UFC does their press conferences. I've been to a few. I've asked Dana White a question. I've asked Nate Diaz and Masvidal questions. I got booed because I brought up Canelo Alvarez. It was amazing. It was the coolest atmosphere ever. It was on Pier 17 in New York City. Boxing press conferences are so stale. They're just like ritualistic. That's the right word I'm using for. It's like it's cookie cutter. It's the same thing every single time. They go up there. The head of the MGM that you don't even know who he is makes a speech. Promoter makes a speech. Trainer makes a speech. Trainer's trainer makes a speech. Fighter's family makes a speech. Fighter's best friend makes a speech. And then we get to the fighters, and by that time you're just like, and the fighters usually don't say much because they're not really pressed. The fighters say stuff when the reporters press them. Why aren't reporters being allowed to ask questions to the fighters up on the stage? Give them a mic. Put the camera on their face. Let them say who they are with. Hey, I'm Marcus Villegas from Fight Hub. Hey, I'm Ellie Seckbach from ES News. Hey, I'm Dan Canobbio from Inside Boxing Live. Do that. Create that atmosphere. Get these spicy Canelo quotes during the press conference, not afterwards, where you have to search them out on YouTube. Another rant. I don't know how many people actually care about that, but I do. 650 people in the chat. Wow. What do you think of Canelo saying Benavidez brings nothing but an extra 25 pounds? That was nice. That was a nice little jab. That was, making fun of or poking at Benavidez's weight, right? He's a weight bully. He fights at 168, but then he comes in on fight night close to 190, which, Canelo is getting up there in age. He's protecting his image, protecting his legacy, as some of you said. Will there be a hydration clause on Benavidez in this fight? Or will he fight him straight up? Like, that was a dig at Benavidez being quote-unquote weight bully. Yeah, it wasn't a legacy fight, but I thought a lot of folks would say he'd lose to BJ Saunders. Whoever picked BJ Saunders to beat Canelo, you need your head checked. Come on. Who picked BJ Saunders to win that fight? I thought BJ Saunders boxed nicely first couple of rounds. I maybe gave him a round or two out of those like 6 or 7. Canelo just broke his face. We haven't seen BJ Saunders since. Definitely needs to fight Benavidez. Couldn't agree more. The belt organization's heal for that 3% of a Canelo payday. Yep, they love that 3%. No one ever asked for BJ Saunders' fight. He fought BJ to avoid fighting Andre. No, he fought BJ Saunders because BJ Saunders had a belt. Remember? Canelo said, I will unify and I will become undisputed at 168. Who's in my way? Callum Smith, you're in my way. BJ Saunders, you're in my way. Caleb Plant, you're in my way. Anvi Yildirim, you are a speed bump in my way. I'll kick you over on my way to undisputed. That's why he fought BJ Saunders. He didn't fight BJ Saunders because we were all demanding it. Come on now, Larry Liston. Avoid Andre. Canelo would have dog walked Andre. Yeah, it's another thing we need to put to bed here. Canelo not wanting to fight Demetrius Andrade. Like when? Like 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013 Andrade? Or like the Andrade that showed up at the press conference and Canelo like shooed him away. Yeah. Wait a second. You guys want to see something? I'm going to pull something out right here from Canelo. Here we go. This here, remember Canelo press conference when Andrade came in and Canelo said payday. Look at this shirt right here. Great story behind this shirt. Payday. I was working at John Boy Media and we wanted to make some merch. So this was like the height of Canelo when he was talking about, when he said that payday line, and everyone was saying payday over and over. And that was like the thing. So I made this shirt, talked with the graphic designer, and I didn't know they were going to put his like face on it like that. We put it up on the store at John Boy Media. Get a call from Canelo's lawyer. Get a call from Canelo's lawyer. Take that down immediately or you will be sued. Also, Canelo loves it. Send us one. This is like a shirt. This shirt is one of one. It's never been sold. No one's ever had it. It's like the only one I have and the only one ever really made. What a shirt. That's the type of stuff you get in the live chat. What do we got here? Demetrio says, Dan, watch all the energy change when he fights him in the fall. Yeah, in Saudi Arabia. Do you guys care where Canelo fights Benavidez? Do you feel like that fight has to happen in Las Vegas? Do you feel like that fight has to happen in U.S.? Do you feel like it has to happen on the terms that you want it on? Will you be okay if you find out Canelo is making $100 million, Benavidez is making $5 million, and it's happening in Saudi Arabia? How would you feel about that? How'd you feel about that? Alex Robinson, what's up, brother? I just think that boxing superstars owe it to the sport to give the next generation a chance to make their name. Bro, you couldn't be any more right, Alex, because what did Mayweather do? Gave Canelo, that shot at age 23. And part of why Mayweather did that was very smart because he fought Canelo before Canelo was at his height. Brilliant move on Mayweather's part. But another reason, or another way you could look at it, is Mayweather gave Canelo that chance, gave him that stage, just like someone gave Mayweather that stage. And you keep doing that, Alex. You're right. Guys, I'm like out of breath. That's how excited I am for this live chat. I'm not live chat fit. I got to get my lungs in check because I'm excited. This is a different pace than which I do the show at Algeria, which will be coming out on Friday with Sebastian Fundora. I definitely think it would put a blemish on his legacy. He's been avoiding Benavidez' fight for over 2 years, and David lost the belts twice. Yeah, but like, how much are we talking about? Like I said, like 5, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when Canelo's getting enshrined in the Hall of Fame, will it be like the main topic? Or will it be the 5-division weight champion? All the belts, all the money, everything he did for the sport? Or is it going to be all the questions in Canastota when Canelo gets into the Hall of Fame? Or are they going to be only about David Benavidez? I don't know. I love this. The chat. We got people in the chat arguing with each other. That's how you know the chat's lit. Boxing regularly did live press conferences leading up to fights in the HBO days. I worked on many. Yeah, I remember those too, Gail. I went to them as a kid. Like, the press conferences have gotten really like formulaic. That's the word I was looking for. It's just like, all right, here's boom, process. It's a process now. It's not really fun when it could be so much fun. Press conferences, these guys are some of the brightest personalities, boxers. Give them all mics like they do at UFC. They all have mics and they start talking to each other. I think that's what's really hurting press conferences in boxing is the lack of crazy personalities. Like, no, Shrek. Yeah, there are some good personalities in boxing. There's in UFC, there's personalities in boxing too. Believe me, like, there are many of them. If you guys give them a mic and you let them talk, and then you have reporters ask them questions, you'll get crazy moments. What do you think about Benavidez bringing 25 pounds to the fight when he wanted to go up to cruiser? I don't know. How are the numbers in Benavidez' last pay-per-view fight? Whatever. Like, Benavidez is not going to get the lion's share of the money. He's not going to get. He's going to be fine with the percentage that he gets. He said he's been on the record saying, "I'll take $5 million." You know, he's been on the record saying, like, "I'll take a freaking 8% of 100, a 92-8 split." Like, Benavidez's pay-per-view numbers aren't good because look at his pay-per-views. He's fought Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andrade. Like, if he fights Canelo, it's going to do great numbers because it's Canelo and it's a fight everyone wants to see. It takes 2 to tango. Oh, yeah, that shirt is hilarious. Yeah, man, it is. I wish that shirt I could have been rich off of that shirt. Where is it? I could have been rich off this thing, man. 917. Let's get 1,000 people in this chat. I could have been rich off this thing. Payday. I wonder if I'll get sued just for holding that up. It's so funny when I got that call from Canelo's lawyer. Really cool guy, nice dude. I knew we were in the wrong. I didn't know our graphics guy was making that. That's so clearly like a copyright issue, trademark, whatever. But man, I could have been rich off that shirt. Mayweather gave Canelo a chance, but he put some special clauses in the contract. Yeah, every freaking A-side puts clauses in the contract, Gordo. It's called A-side behavior. You get what you negotiate, not what you ask for. So, Benavidez, you want this shot? You want Canelo? You've been publicly clamoring for it for years. Canelo's going to put some stuff in that contract, which every A-side will do. Been happening since negotiations have begun. It's always happens. Dan, when are we going to see you on the round table with D-Style and Beebs? When you invite me. I'm out of breath. I'm fat and out of shape. You got to do these streams more often. Yo, I'll be doing these streams every Wednesday at 11:30. Maybe I'll do some at night if I'm feeling it. if we always have 968 people in them, I'll do them all the time. I was not expecting that type of number, to be honest, but I love it. I'm honestly on Canelo's side when he mentioned Benavidez will come in 25 pounds heavier. I don't respect the weight bullying. If he could make the weight, if he could make 168, which he has done now for the last like 3 or 4 fights after he, more than that, after 2020 where he lost his weight, lost his belt on the scale, he's been able to make 168. Benavidez, he's had no issues with it besides that one time. The other time was he got his belt stripped for cocaine use, and I hate when people bring that up too. It's like, well, Benavidez could have had this shot already, but he lost it on the scale and he did cocaine. Okay, well, are we going to hold it over his head for his whole career? 1,000 people in the chat. 1,000. Let's go. Woo! I reckon Munguia KO, but I haven't even talked about Munguia yet. That's the thing. That's the thing, guys. That's the thing about Canelo Benavidez is so clearly the fight that everyone wants to see. I think it's the #1 fight to make in the sport outside of Fury and Usyk. Even be bigger than Fury and Usyk. So everyone just wants to talk about Canelo and Benavidez. Almost forgot that Canelo's fighting Munguia. May 4th on ppv.com. Watch it. I'll be there. I'll also be in the live chat. Don't know much about David's next opponent. Hope it's a good fight. He's fighting Alexander Gvadzik, who is a former 175-pound champion. Best days behind him. Took some years off after Beterbiev destroyed him. Has a string of knockouts. Benavidez is going to walk through Gvadzik. If Benavidez goes to 175, I don't know if that's the best idea. Like, if you're this close to fighting Canelo and you're making 168, like, why not just stay there? Because I think if you go to 175, there's no coming back. I don't think if Benavidez goes to 175, he'll come back down to 168. It's not that easy. That's 7 pounds. That's not like going from 118 to 122 or one of those lower weights. 7 pounds. That's a lot. It's a lot. There it is, Austin. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. Art of the deal. If you don't think Canelo's going to ask for crazy shit in a contract, then you don't know how negotiations work. If you don't think that Tank was going to ask for a rehydration clause, Tank asked for a rehydration clause. Was it unethical? Was it the right thing to do? Can you clown him for doing that against Ryan Garcia? Yeah, that's what fight fans did. They let Tank know that wasn't a cool move, but Ryan Garcia accepted it. Oscar De La Hoya did not want Ryan to accept the rehydration clause. Ryan wanted to make that fight so bad that he decided to handcuff himself in that fight. Moral of the story, you get what you deserve. I said it wrong. Moral of the story, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. Do we want to talk? Can you define what a weight bully is? A weight bully is a guy that probably should be fighting at a weight class above, but he kills himself to make the weight. It's one of those hot trigger words that boxing fans use. Weight bully. Because some people say if you can make the weight, it's not weight bullying. That's kind of where I fall. Canelo is tiny. Canelo's a small guy, but that's kind of where I fall, XL. It's like, all right, Benavidez has made the weight pretty consistently since 2020. Even as he's growing as a man, you got to remember he's like 25 years old. Haven't heard many stories of him like killing himself to make the weight. Haven't heard any stories of him. Haven't seen anything where he has to go back onto the scale. So is he a weight bully? Because I think all these guys are quote unquote weight bullies then. Because if you think Errol Spence walks around at 147 pounds, Errol Spence walks around at like 170. There's still a debate today about what Tank walks around at. Everyone's a weight bully then. You figure out which weight class works best for you and your body. Benavidez is a weight bully, but so is Canelo. We need to mention Amir Khan, Jose Lopez, Charlo. No, that's not a weight bully. That's just like a bully in the bully sense of the terms. Weight bully is you're fighting below the weight you should. Canelo fought smaller guys in Khan, Lopez, Charlo. That's just bullying. Benavidez has every right to turn down the fight if there's a rehydration clause. Will he, though? Will he? Canelo finally says, yeah, I'll do it. You know, give me the money I want, $75 million. Maybe he goes down to Canelo. Benavidez has backed himself to a corner where he's pretty much said, I'll do anything to fight Canelo. All right, Canelo says you can't weigh more than 178, 180 on fight night. Doesn't the IBF do that anyway? Isn't the IBF title on the line in this fight? Doesn't the IBF not allow more than 10 pounds the day after a weigh-in? Fight day weigh-in? 1,200 people in the chat. Why are you such a Camelot? Wish I knew what that meant. We have some other stuff we want to talk about on this show. Do we want to talk about Sebastian Fundora is replacing Keith Thurman? This was the news on Monday. It's already Wednesday, but this is how boxing works. News flies in boxing. It's a 24-hour news cycle in boxing. Not even, probably even less. We already passed Thurman being replaced by Fundora to fight Tszyu, and now we have our pitchforks out over Canelo, asking for $200 million to fight Benavidez. But this was the big news of the week. Sebastian Fundora replaces Keith Thurman, who hurt his bicep. Fundora versus Tim Tszyu is on March 30th. You can watch it on ppv.com. I'll be in the chat with Chris Algieri, Jim Lampley, Lance Pugmire. I'll be in Las Vegas all week long, getting you the best content possible. I like this fight. I think it's a better fight. I think this is a better fight. Yeah, Fundora got knocked out in his last fight, but he was winning up until that moment. And also, I think he brings different elements to this fight with Tszyu that Thurman just couldn't bring at age 35. Different type of fighter, Fundora. Different type of human. He's 6'5", 154 pounds. Likes to smother you despite having long arms. Complete opposite of Keith Thurman. Think it's going to be a shootout. Think it's going to be a firefight. And it's for 2 belts now. It's for the WBC title. It's for the WBO title. And with the WBO title on the line in this fight, they have a clause where if you hop up in weight from the weight below, which would be Terence Crawford, you get a direct shot at the champion. So if Tim Tszyu wins this fight, he could potentially fight Terence Crawford. And that excites me. That makes this fight and this event even more exciting. Demetrio, Tim Tszyu ends Fundora's career. He's going to get KO'd again. But here's the thing. Fundora's going to make it fun. He's going to go for broke. He's going to sell out. He's going to throw wide punches, big punches. Yeah, he probably will get stopped. Probably to the body is my guess. Around the 8th round. That's my initial thought. What are your thoughts on it being a PPV? Obviously, it's a write-off for channels like yours, but do you think Tszyu Thurman was pay-per-view worthy? Yes, because of Keith Thurman always fights on pay-per-view, and that's just where the business model is going in boxing these days. If you take a look at the card, top to bottom, it's loaded card. It's really good value. Great fights, top to bottom. Amazon Prime has 2 fights now on the free portion. So, yeah, I do think it's up to you to order with ppv.com. Fundora definitely is a weight bully. No, XL, you're wrong. Because I've interviewed Fundora, and I'll be interviewing him later today. He struggles to make the weight in terms of, like, up. Like, he walks around at 150. He's like one of those freaks with a crazy metabolism. Like, he can't, like, gain the weight. Like, he says he eats, like, all day long to make 154. I can't believe it, but you know, he told me that. Someone explain how Fundora gets a chance at 2 belts after being demolished by Mendoza. It's just the way that the fight goes, man. It's just the way he. There's a reasoning why someone turned it. I think it had to do with Charlo. Vacating the belt. Fundora's ranked 4th. He fights Boachuk. He was supposed to fight Boachuk for the vacant WBC. It's a top 5 at 154. I mean, given what we were dealt, right? Given the situation where Thurman injures his bicep, Most of the time, they just call off the fight. Most of the time, the event gets scrapped. So a late replacement of Sebastian Fundora's skill set and notoriety in the boxing world, pretty good. Pretty good. If Tim Tszyu wins, he picks up the 2 belts. Tim Tszyu should have 2 belts. He is the best at 154 right now. So Tszyu should win this fight. Tszyu has 2 belts. Tszyu fights Crawford in the summer. We got to it. Doesn't matter how we got to it, but we got to it. 6'5" southpaw that fights on the inside. Total curveball from Thurman. I know, bro. Did you see this on Twitter? I posted it. Michael Fox. Remember Michael Fox? He's a 6'4", 147 pounder out of Philly, I want to say. Great dude. Follow him on Twitter. And he got flown in by Tim Tszyu. And the picture is on my Twitter, and Michael Fox posted it too. I want to pull it up right here. Where is it? 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 Here it is. That's Michael Fox. Very smart on Thurman's. Very smart on Tszyu's side of things. There's not many 6'4", 6'5" guys walking around 150 pounds. So call up Michael Fox, fly him to Vegas, and pick up some sparring. He's also a southpaw too. Really good. This guy says this is whack content. Brutal trying to listen to this monotone MFer. Just defend and ass kiss Canelo. Ass kiss Canelo. I spent the first 10, 15 minutes criticizing Canelo. Had to turn it off, but you're here commenting. Okay, bro. All right, bro. Wasn't Fundora Mendoza close before he got slept? Yes. It was. I thought Fundora was winning the fight before he got clipped, but it doesn't matter. He got clipped. He went. Not only did he get knocked out, he got freaking knocked out cold. Like, that was a really brutal knockout. The better replacement from a competition standpoint would have been Boachuk. He brings it, but Fundora has the better visibility, draws eyeballs. Yes, Gail. It is a business. You know this better than anyone. They were going to give this to Fundora because he's been fighting on Showtime, fighting on Fox. People know Fundora. Madrimov just won his title at 154. He might be the dark horse at 154. Virgil Ortiz, I think, is circling in the waters to fight Madrimov over on DAZN. I look at that top 4 at 154 right now. You got Tszyu versus Crawford, hopefully in the summer, right? Madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz. Then you throw in all the other supporting characters at 154. Charles Conwell, Sergey Boachuk, Brian Mendoza. I'm probably leaving some out. Potentially Spence. Because Tim Tszyu mentioned Errol Spence in his tweet. He said, you know, I'll take out Fundora and then I'll go for the big fish, Spence or Crawford. Like, Spence will take some more time off and probably come back at 154 and I'm just guessing here, and maybe go for his final run. Maybe we'll try to get that Crawford rematch if there's belts on the line. Maybe try to get a Tszyu. I don't think we saw the last of Spence. I still think it's going to be a while before he gets back into the ring, but I do. Obviously, it's going to be at 154. Tszyu Fundora is definitely a better fight. Still a no pay-per-view worthy, though. That's up to you. If you do order it, I recommend you ordering it with ppv.com. Join me, join Chris Algieri, join Jim Lampley. Don't miss out. I feel like this is the type of card where it's so stacked with really fun fights. They're going to be knockouts that if you don't order it, you're going to have severe FOMO. You're going to say, oh my God, I wish I was watching this fight. Or better yet, keep it locked to my social media and ppv.com social media. Starting next Monday, we're giving away one free pay-per-view every day. Feel bad for Boachuk. Hope he got at least $200K. He probably got a nice check. Boachuk got a nice step-aside check. Definitely did. Still doesn't make it right. You know, I'm sure he'd rather still be fighting for the vacant WBC title in a fight that he probably, I wouldn't say he would have favored, but it was 50-50 against him and Fundora. I was really looking forward to Boachuk versus Fundora. But, you know, they salvaged the card. Boxing has become an expensive sport, no doubt about it. Fundora is style-wise tougher fight for Tszyu. Yes, you need that thumbing type of power to get him out of there. Tszyu has more of a break you down. Yeah, the first couple rounds are going to be really interesting of Tszyu and Fundora. If Fundora can get inside, which he typically likes to do, and he can land some big shots on Tszyu, get Tszyu's attention, kind of get the respect of Tszyu, then it could be a little tricky for the first 5 or 6 rounds. But I eventually see Tszyu taking over middle to late rounds, get that stoppage. Wait till Boots gets to 154. I feel like 154, since 147 is such a barren wasteland. Yeah, 154 could be crazy in like the next year. But Boots is so determined to stay at 147 and figure this out and kind of reap the benefits of Crawford and Spence moving up and some of the older welterweights aging out, that Boots is really committed to 147. He's going to be fighting Cody Crawley. The purse bid got delayed. They're trying to negotiate. Would not be shocked to see Boots versus Cody Crawley on the Canelo Munguia undercard. Just a guess. But I think Boots stays at 147, sees what's there, gets a few belts there. Just get in the damn ring if you're Boots Ennis. Just get in the ring, man. One of the most mismanaged careers I've seen in maybe boxing history. Fundora reminds me of this generation's Paul Williams. Yes, good comp. Poachuk is still on the card. He's fighting Brian Mendoza. Yes, he is. He's fighting on the Amazon free portion, which is how about shout out to Brian Mendoza. Brian Mendoza was training alongside Tszyu this entire training camp, staying ready. He was filled in as a replacement just in case a fight fell out. So here he is, Brian Mendoza. Shout out to Brian Mendoza. Waiting on that chance, gets that chance, goes in there and does it. 1,400 people in the chat. I am blown away by this. This is awesome. Dad, Dimitri, you're my son. Dad, what are your thoughts on William Zepeda and his future? Well, son, William Zepeda is one of the most prolific punchers in boxing. Throws 100 punches around. Has the all-time lightweight record through 1,536 punches against Jojo Diaz. He is a handful for anyone. He can beat anyone in the lightweight division because of his volume and his punching power and his dedication to the body. Now, do I think he can beat Shakur Stevenson? No. Do I think he can beat Gervonta Davis? No. Do I think he can beat some of the other lightweights? Yes. Do I want to see him fight some of the other lightweights because of his style? Absolutely. William Zepeda is a top 5 lightweight. Speaking of Boots, Ennis, do you think he's going to be forced to move up, kind of like Benavidez soon? No, not forced. He's young. He's like 25. He could make 147 for the next 5 years. I don't think he's like struggling to make the weight. I just think he's struggling to get into the ring because of promoter issues and struggling to secure an opponent, struggling to secure that opponent that's going to put him over. That's the same thing with Canelo not giving the shot to Benavidez. It's kind of similar to Crawford not giving the shot to Boots. Like, does it resemble the biggest fight ever for Crawford? Does it resemble a huge financial gain? No, but Crawford will still get a lion's share of the money if he ever fought Boots. It's still the best fight at 147 right now. If you look at 147 right now, who are the 2 best fighters in that division? Terence Crawford, Jaron Ennis. They should fight. Dan, what's your prediction on Rolly versus Pitbull? Will the adjustment of Rolly going back with Ishmael Salas give him a slight edge? I don't know. I do like that he's back with Ishmael Salas. That is the trainer that he was having the most success with. After he left Salas is when he started, veering off from his fundamentals. Started the sport really late. Rolly, I think he was like 18, maybe even a little bit younger. I did not like the way Pitbull fought in that fight, his last fight on the Spence Crawford undercard. I was not impressed by Pitbull. I think Pitbull's a little overrated. Still think he's explosive. Love this fight though. I would give Rolly the slight edge because I think he has more power. And it's going to come down to power in this fight. Does Zepeda beat Loma? Yeah, he does. I don't think Loma can handle that type of pressure. Loma will do a really good job of like using his angles, do a really good job of breaking him down or trying to slow down the pace. But Loma's getting up there. I think Zepeda beats Loma. Being XL, I'm sorry. Oh, being avoided. Oh, you talking about Boots again? Do you think he's going to be forced to move up? Yeah. The only reason Boots moves up is because he thinks that he can get better fights at 154. It's not going to be because he can't make the weight. It's going to be because there's nothing for him at 147, or no one was willing to get into the ring. 147, man, 147 is a joke. What the hell happened to 147 pounds? What happened to middleweight? Two weight classes that were carrying the sport of boxing for a long ass time. I mean, look about the best fighters of all time. Most of them were at welterweight or at middleweight. And now it's just not the case. Middleweight's a joke. So it's all about lightweight and 140 right now in boxing. Those two divisions, if they got their act together, if they could all fight each other, like Teofimo, Haney, Shakur, Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. Who's the other guy that I like? Those five. Throw in Andy Cruz. Throw in the kid from Virginia. I don't know why he's slipping my mind. Those guys, if they all fought each other like a little round robin, they can do that for like 5 years. And the sport would thrive and they'd make a ton of money. And no one would care if they would lose because they would just fight the next guy. What's that? That name is going to piss me off. The kid from Virginia. Who is he? Someone in the chat, let me know. Questions have been awesome today. Chat has been great. Closing in on 1,500 people in this chat. Zepeda beats Loma, an older, slower Loma who doesn't have that crisp counter punching to hold off a guy like Zepeda. The volume is going to drown him. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. He beats Loma. I want to see Zepeda fight Shakur. Zepeda versus Shakur. Keyshawn Davis. That's what I was thinking of. Put Keyshawn Davis in that mix. But like the top guys at 135, 140. If they all fought, Matias put him in there too. If they all fought each other, they could do it for like 5 years. Nonstop. Floyd Schofield is not ready yet. I like Schofield a lot. I think he's explosive. He's athletic, has a really nice left hook. We saw in that last fight that he fights with emotion, doesn't jab at all. He needs to just rein it in a little bit, not get too ahead of himself. He's got a great promoter in Oscar. They'll take care of him. Tank won't fight at 140. Yeah, I heard. I think he will. Listen, here's the thing with Tank. Tank is 28. The big fights are coming for Tank. I mean, this is how they worked his career. Build him into a bona fide star. Build him into a bona fide draw. Put him in there with fringe contenders. Put him in there with former champions. Put him in there carefully with some of these opponents that are good opponents, but they're not elite. Then, when you get to 28, 29 years old, when you could be the A side, when you could have all the demands, start making the big fights. So I fully expect Tank to be in fights with Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, whoever, you name him. It's going to happen for Tank. Because what else is his career going to be? He can't just do this from here until he retires. Frank Martin's a good opponent, but he's not the fight we're clamoring for. Leo Santa Cruz, those types of guys, you can do that to a certain point, and it's worked beautifully for Tank to the point where now he is top 5 draw in boxing, top 5 face, top 5 most exciting, A side in the driver's seat. I think he's in the driver's seat for all negotiations with every fighter out there around that weight. Tank versus Teofimo at 140. Are you kidding me? Tank versus Haney at 140. Tank versus Shakur at 140. Monster fights. Monster. Shout out to Jay Prince. Yeah, I know Jay Prince. Abdullah Mason. Yes, Abdullah Mason is so damn good, but he's like 18. He's definitely in that like rung of prospect where he's definitely prospect, but he's just because of his age, he's not yet towards the middle. Like Schofield is a little bit above Mason in terms of development. I think Schofield's like 20 fights. Abdullah Mason is so good though. That's the thing. Like his talent is there, but the rules of boxing and all that crap. Who's going to bring in the viewers to buy pay-per-views? You need different demographics. Tank versus Haney will sell. Tank versus Shakur Stevenson will sell. Because what you're selling is the elite fighters. What you're selling is two elite fighters facing off. It's a legitimate super fight, legitimate showdown of best versus best. You don't have to depend on some of the other things you have to do to sell a fight, like what we're seeing with Ryan Garcia, or we see sometimes during promotions where it gets away from the actual competitiveness of a fight. Like the essence of a promotion should be about best versus best. It has, sometimes it's not best versus best. Like Ryan Garcia is not the best at 140. Devin Haney is. So that's when you get into the shoving matches at Super Bowl that seem contrived. You get whatever Ryan Garcia has been doing for the last couple months. But with Tank versus any of the guys I listed, like those should be able to sell well. Those should be able to do over 500 pay-per-view buys, which is considered pretty good nowadays. Anywhere, and top out at close to 1 million. You would think. I don't see Tank fighting Shakur. Okay, but then who's Tank gonna fight? He's 28. Like he's got 10 years, 8 years. Who he's gonna go his whole career from here on out fighting like the Frank Martins of the world? It's just not. No, it's just not what the Mayweather plan. Like the Mayweather had a plan with Tank. You may not like the plan, but Mayweather has had a plan for Gervonta Davis. His plan, like I said before, build him up into a legit commodity. Become the A side, dictate the terms, make fights with the bigger names when you get into close to your 30s. I mean, it's not for fans, it's kind of not great because these guys should be fighting like when they're in their mid 20s, not when they're in their 30s. Keyshawn versus Schofield down the line is a pretty good fight. Don't know what picking in that one. Yeah, that's like a fight we'll never get. Maybe way down the line. Keyshawn versus Andy Cruz. Bro, there's so much young talent. Keyshawn Davis, Schofield, Abdullah Mason, Bruce Carrington. I was at the Garden for Bruce Carrington's last knockout. That kid has the it factor. That kid has charisma. That kid has power. Carrington versus Inoue. Carrington versus Inoue. I want to see that fight. See, your point is a hardcore, but the casuals don't buy into that. Tank. People like Tank. The casuals know who Tank Davis is. Yeah, but we kind of have to reimagine like some of these fights, like Tank versus Devin Haney or Tank versus Teofimo, Gervonta versus Shakur. I mean, it's not Pacquiao Mayweather. It's not Hagler Hearns. Like, it's this generation's big fight. So that means maybe 500, 600, 700 buys. Maybe it's streamed on Netflix. I mean, I don't know. Simple way to not fight Benavidez. So we're off Benavidez and Canelo now. Mayweather Promotions got to make their money back on Tank, so doubt he'll fight Haney or Shakur anytime soon. They want to okay, Larry, but how do you get a return on your investment? You get a return on your investment by making huge fights. Like Tank versus Haney or Tank versus Shakur should do a big gate, should do a big number, should do a lot of advertisements and all that stuff, merch. That's how you make your investment back. You don't make your investment back by Tank fighting like, Frank Martin. You make your investment back by putting him in there with big fights. Shoo is good. Tank Cruz 2 if Cruz beats Rolly. Rayo if he can beat De Los Santos. Maybe Tio if he can gain the Latin fan base. I'm going to be pretty upset if Tank fights Cruz. I'll be pretty upset if Tank fights Valenzuela or De Los Santos. Tank needs to fight one of these bigger names. He's now one of the faces of boxing. Like, he has to fight Shakur. He's got to fight Haney. Dan, thoughts on Golden Boy prospect Joel Iorarte? I saw him. He fought on the first fight of the night on DAZN. I know he's got a ton of amateur accolades. Like him a lot. I hear he might come back right away and fight on the card next month. Liked him a lot. What do we got here? Yeah, but he might lose, and then that's the end of it. The line for Tank. Without that 0, they aren't as markable. In a way, yes, but I would pick Tank to beat Haney. I would pick Tank to beat Shakur. How do you like that? By the way, there's a rumor out there that Rayo Venezuela is rematching Edwin De Los Santos. Yes, I heard about this. This Tank versus Frank card, June 15th, is the working date, Las Vegas. I heard that Vodzik versus Benavidez will be on that card. I heard Venezuela versus Edwin De Los Santos will be on that card. And there was one more fight. I think Algieri sent me something on it. Was it Algieri? Where is he? Yeah, I don't know the other one, but I heard that they're building a nice little pay-per-view for June 15th with Tank, Benavidez, De Los Santos. That would be awesome. Tank will easily double his pay-per-view buys with opponents like Haney, Shakur, and Teofimo. Tank does 250 without those names. Yes, Steven. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Like, you put Tank in there finally with another like elite fighter, that shit will blow up. Like, that's Tank finally getting in there with a Haney, a Shakur, Teofimo. It's best versus best. That's how you market it. That should get fans excited. That should get anyone on the fence about buying a pay-per-view to buy it. The hardcores are obviously going to buy it. The people that are on the fence are going to buy it. The casuals will buy it. The non-boxing fans that are just interested in a real event between two guys in their late 20s. Yes, that fight, double it. 500,000 to begin with on the base level. And watch it rise. I agree with you, but economically, it won't make sense. I heard Leonard say that Shakur or Devin don't sell. That's just Leonard talking, man. He's never going to give anyone credit. Leonard Ellerby, I love him, but he's not going to give Shakur credit. He's not going to give Devin Haney credit. I mean, it's public negotiations. Always downplay your opponent. Always downplay the op out there. Always. Yeah, they don't. Shakur and Devin don't sell like Tank does, but no one does. Devin Haney sold pretty damn good in San Francisco against Regis Prograis. Devin Haney is underrated ticket seller, underrated name. Like, people know that guy outside of boxing. Like, he's building a very nice career and image for himself, Devin Haney. I wouldn't sell him so short. How about Nakatani unification with the other Maloney and then Takuma Inoue? Yes. I want to see Nakatani fight Inoue and get that brother rivalry going. And then Nakatani fight Naoya Inoue. You need American versus Latino to sell. It's historically always been the case. 2 Americans against each other doesn't sell as well. Yeah, okay, but like, you're not going to have that formula every single time. Like, you got to take the wins where you can get them. You got to take the fights where you can get them. So Teofimo versus Shakur, Teofimo versus Haney versus Shakur, Gervonta versus this person, this one. Mix them in. Like, they'll do well. I mean, they're not going to do like De La Hoya Mayweather, but like, no fights are doing that now. So it's either just like continue to make this amount of money if you're a promoter by matching your guys up, like, safely or in your own stable, or cash out on these guys, get a return on your investment on these guys, put them in against each other. Eventually, they're all going to have to fight each other. They're not going to go their whole careers avoiding each other, all these guys. So you never sent the payday shirt. Payday. I still have to give it to Canelo's lawyer. I should bring it. He's a great guy. Did Haney did 30K pay-per-view against Regis. That's a very low number for future Mayweather. I don't know. Is that the number? Regis Prograis, not a seller as well. It sold a lot of tickets. Gate is just as important. Why don't you bring up the gate, Larry? Devin is definitely getting a lot of casual fans. I heard random people talk about him who really don't know much about boxing. Devin Haney has broken through into the regular sports lexicon, and the Ryan Garcia fight is going to help him tremendously. He's already handling himself like a true professional. He just looks good compared to Ryan Garcia side by side. And if he knocks out Ryan Garcia or he has an unbelievable performance on April 20th, that will elevate Devin Haney even more and get him closer to a fight with Tank. Thoughts on potential Navarrete-Williams Zepeda showdown? Wow. That's crazy Mexican brawl. Yeah, because Navarrete is fighting for the vacant WBO title on May 18th. Zepeda is number one mandatory for, I think, every belt but the WBO. Doesn't mean they can't make that fight. I like Golden Boy and Top Rank seem to work together. So that could happen. It's not really like on my mind. I see Lomachenko fighting Shakur. I see Lomachenko beating Kambosos. I see Shakur beating whoever they give him on July 6th. And then I see Loma versus Shakur at the end of the year. And then I see Navarrete. He could maybe fight Zepeda. Like, Zepeda is in a good spot because he's just going to sit back and wait. Like, no one's begging Zepeda to fight any of these guys. He's just like waiting and seeing where the chips fall at 135. It's kind of funny, though, because Gervonta Davis is at 135. And no one ever, like, he's never mentioned in this equation, right? Because I think fans and just the boxing world has just come to accept that Gervonta does whatever he wants and is on his own thing. Do you think Rolly made a better choice in fighting on Amazon Prime main event versus fighting Ryan on DAZN? I think he can still fight Ryan in a main event, even if Ryan loses. I don't know. Rolly made a better choice fighting on Amazon Prime co-main. I don't know how much he got. He says he made more for the Amazon one. He's a PBC fighter, Rolly, and he's listening to Al Heyman. So Al will let that pay off. What are your thoughts on Ryan Garcia? Do you think his behavior is to sell the fight? And if Devin beats him, does it take it away for beating someone who isn't stable? I don't think it's selling the fight anymore. I think it's hurting the fight, Ryan Garcia's behavior. I don't know if it's an act. I think some of it is some type of mental breakdown has occurred in the last couple of days or weeks. I think it's hurting the fight. I think it's preventing people from flying into New York, preventing people from making plans. A lot of people are just turned off by the fight, but I do think we get it. And I do think by the time we get to it, it will be huge and it will feel big. I think he's fine. Like, he's just saying a lot of crazy stuff. He's still training. He's still doing all his commitments with DAZN and all that. A few more questions because I am fading fast. Canelo has the final say on the fight. We're going back to Canelo now. So Benavidez must comply with his terms, including tough requirements to secure. Yeah. I agree. It's a negotiation, T. So Canelo is going to be like, all right, I'm up there in age. This is probably my last big, like, mega fight. I'm going to ask for a crazy amount of money. I'm going to ask for a rehydration clause. I'm going to ask to be, I'm coming in the ring first. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. That's what you do when you're the A side. A side behavior. You would do it too. Demetrio, thank you for joining. Thank you, my friend. All right, everybody. That was a really fun time. 1,588 people here in the chat. Shocked, blown away. Love it. DC Live Chat is here to stay. Next week, I'll be flying to Las Vegas on Wednesday. Maybe we'll do it another night. We'll have to reconvene and figure out a plan. But for the most part, we will be doing these live chats every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Justin, thank you so much. I love you all. We'll have a new episode with Chris Algieri, taping it tomorrow. Sebastian Fundora will join the show. Me and Chris will break down these Canelo demands. We'll break down the Thurman news, all that. So look for a new episode of Inside Boxing Live on Friday. Love you all. See you next time. One last time. Payday. Maybe I'll give this shirt away. Good night.